An unprecedented move in the college football world as UCLA head coach Chip Kelly has left his post and taken the offensive coordinator role at Ohio State. And it got me thinking, could we see this in the SEC anytime soon? And if so, who would be the most likely candidates to be on the move? Ladies and gents, boys and girls, I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Hit that bell icon so you get notifications of when we go live and when we drop new video content as well, which is each and every single day. Also, be sure to check out the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. We're also all across social media, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. SEC Unfiltered is there, and you can keep up with everything SECU over at SECUnfiltered.com. Guys, before we get rolling, of course, the Super Bowl is Sunday. That means it's time to place your bets with our friends over at MyBookie. Guys, the Chiefs and 49ers are gearing up for an epic showdown in Las Vegas, and you've got a front row seat with MyBookie. Whether you're aiming to cash on the big game or just looking to have a good time with friends, MyBookie brings a true Vegas experience straight to you. With a huge selection of pregame bets, you can wager on everything from the opening coin toss to the color of Taylor Swift's sweater. Guys, they've got Taylor Swift prop bets. What a time to be alive. MyBookie's a platform that offers something for everyone. Guys, you don't need to be a pro to turn sports and pop culture knowledge into real cash in your wallet. Sign up, make your first deposit today using promo code SECU, and choose from a variety of welcome offers to find one that suits your playstyle. You've got plenty of options. Guys, if you're itching for a sports book and casino that amplifies the thrill and maximizes your winnings, MyBookie is your MVP. Bet anything, anytime, and from anywhere, only with MyBookie. Now, in case you missed it, UCLA head coach Chip Kelly is on the move. Now, if I just told you that without any other context, you'd say, well, okay, that makes sense, right? UCLA, tough place to win. Chip Kelly has been very vocal, I would say, about the future of college football, the direction of college football, the current status of college football with NIL, transfer portal, things he'd change, etc. And so if I told you that Chip Kelly was on the move, I don't think many folks would bat an eye. Maybe it'd be somewhat surprising, but you'd probably assume, okay, well, he's going back to the NFL or he's taking another head coaching job somewhere. No, the thing that made this crazy was this. Chip Kelly, a Power 5 head coach, is leaving his post to be the offensive coordinator at another Power 5 school. Guys, Kane Womack leaving South Alabama as the head coach to be the defensive coordinator for the Alabama Crimson Tide, that's one thing, right? That's one thing. But when you've got the head coach of UCLA, a very proud football program, the head coach leaving to be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State, which Ohio State, higher prestige college football program than UCLA. But guys, we're talking about a pair of teams that are about to compete in the same conference next year. And Chip Kelly said, nah, job's too tough. Too tough with the portal, too tough with the NIL, too tough with our NIL situation. I'll go continue to make life-changing money at a place like Ohio State, who doesn't have any of the obstacles that I currently face. And, oh, by the way, get a really, really nice payday as well. So it got me thinking, because I think we're going to see, right, more and more and more of this. We talked about this a couple weeks ago after the Boston College coach left for the DC job in the NFL with the Packers. And that was even a different thing, guys. It's like, you know, going from Boston College to an NFL opportunity. Maybe the guy wants to get to the league, but I think we're going to continue to see more and more and more coaches. We're going to lose some great coaches because of where college football is with NIL, the portal, and no guardrails. And I don't think the SEC is going to be immune from that. And I think there's a number of names in the SEC where it would make a lot of sense. Whether guys see writing on the wall, their seat is warming up, they feel like the expectations by the fan base, by the administration, by whoever cannot be met because maybe they have a lack of resources, right? Things they're dealing with behind the scenes we don't even know about. Or maybe they're just in a situation where they say, you know what? I want to win the breakup. I want to get out first. I want to beat them to the punch. Maybe it's a scenario where that's not the case, but NIL and the portal and those things take a toll on said head coach. So I think there's a number of candidates in the SEC, a number of football coaches that maybe could be the next Chip Kelly in a sense, maybe could take that leap and go from being a head coach in the Southeastern Conference, believe it or not, to saying, you know what? Maybe I'm only getting a third of the pay, but it's still life-changing money, and I don't have any of the pressure. So, without further ado, guys, my list, coaches most likely to be the next Chip Kelly, specifically in the SEC. This one to me is really obvious. It's Florida Gators head coach Billy Napier. I think Billy Napier, guys, is in a position, and maybe the only thing stopping him is that this is his first SEC head coaching job. But it's not his first head coaching job ever. It's why a name like Shane Beamer, you'll notice, is not on this list. Because when it's your first head coaching job, I don't know that you're going to have a plethora of options or that you really have the option to bail early. And I think if you were to bail early, I think if Shane Beamer said, you know what, going to hang it up, NIL's not good enough, it's too tough to win, I just don't know if another opportunity is coming your way. But Billy Napier, of course, was the head coach at Louisiana, now the head coach at Florida. Billy Napier is probably my number one candidate to do this, though, guys, because you look at the situation in Gainesville, and I feel like every single day I'm seeing a new post from a Florida Gator entity, Florida Gator fans. They are disgruntled. They are fed up with the program. But Florida's in an interesting spot because Scott Strickland, the AD, and Billy Napier, they are tied at the hip. The reason Scott Strickland a couple weeks ago came out and said, hey, Billy Napier's not on the hot seat. The reason he did that, guys, is because if Billy Napier fails, Scott Strickland's out. So Scott Strickland wants Billy Napier to win enough to remain in Gainesville because that means he's going to remain in Gainesville. Now, what is win enough at Florida? The over-under win totals were dropped by FanDuel. Actually, today, at the time of us speaking, we'll have a video on that in a couple of days from now. But the over-under win totals were dropped. 5.5 was the number for Florida. If the Gators go 6-6, is Billy Napier back in 2025? If they go 7-5 with that schedule, is he back? Here's the thing. I listed Billy Napier in my head coaching tiers as a dead man walking. Even if he goes 6-6 and returns, guys, the writing is going to be on the wall for Billy Napier. So if you're Napier, why don't you just beat him to the punch? If you got an opportunity to get out of Dodge, to go ahead and walk away, you can go be an OC somewhere. You're an offensive mind. You're an offensive guy. Could I see Billy Napier leaving early to beat Florida to the punch? The only thing, guys, with a lot of these situations, Billy Napier is one of them. You're not leaving that buyout on the table, right? Let's call it for what it is. So maybe that's something I didn't really think about. But if Billy Napier wanted to save face and say, you know what, I'm not going to be fired, maybe it's after, let's say this, maybe it's after the 24 season. And he's done just enough to return, whatever that is, but the fan base is still disgruntled. The fan base is still upset. Maybe a Billy Napier guy says, you know what, I'm in a no-win situation. It's just too tough. It's too difficult. The SEC's too good. These Florida fans, they have a certain expectation. They want the program to be up here. We're currently down here, and I don't see how it's going to get up here. Maybe Billy Napier decides to walk. Another one, guys, Sam Pitman. Ironically enough, these are the top two coaches who I think are on the hottest seats going into 2024. Maybe Sam Pitman says the same thing where, you know what? We don't have quite the NIL resources here. The portal's too difficult. Don't like this new direction of college football. Sam Pittman's a great offensive line coach, guys. He's a hell of an O-line coach. and you got Bobby Petrino there. Who says Petrino ain't the coach in waiting? There's a great conspiracy theory for you. But Sam Pittman is a great football coach, a great offensive line coach, right? He was heralded as one of the best in college football. Maybe a Sam Pittman looks at his situation and says, you know what? Before they fire me, because this year, guys, and maybe we're only in February. Maybe now, what if Sam Pittman said, you know what? Chip Kelly got out of Dodge before it was too late. Maybe I do the same. I mean, who knows, guys? The ripple effect from this could be crazy. Maybe Sam Pittman's one. Here's a couple names, guys, that are going to throw you off. Hugh Freeze. What if Hugh Freeze, maybe not this year, but down the road, could I see Hugh Freeze walking away? It's too difficult at Auburn. He wants to go back to being an OC, wants to go back to the Power 5 level, go back to Liberty. I don't know. Could I see Hugh Freeze walking away? Do you think Hugh Freeze all of a sudden bleeds Auburn's colors? He bleeds War Eagle? I don't think so. I could see Hugh Freeze walking away. Absolutely. Now, he's having a lot of success in the portal. So, having some success in recruiting. But does he love the portal? Does he love NIL? Heck, I don't know. I doubt it. Highly doubt it. Could I see Hugh Freeze walking away being an OC somewhere? Absolutely. Guys, how about Lane Kiffin? Some of you just sat back in your chair. How about Lane Kiffin? As much as Lane Kiffin is the portal king and has dominated the transfer portal, you cannot listen to Lane Kiffin and tell me he likes where college football is. You cannot sit there and listen to Lane Kiffin and tell me that the portal and NIL don't bother him. So maybe Lane Kiffin's a guy that says, you know what? Maybe he wins 11 games this year at Ole Miss. He gets Ole Miss to the college football playoff. Let's say they win a game. Let's say they don't even win the national title, but let's say they win a game in the playoff. Maybe Kiffin looks at it and says, you know what? This is the ceiling. We've reached the ceiling at Ole Miss. And Ole Miss fans, I'm not trying to tell you can't win a national title or that you should limit your ceiling to just getting there, but being realistic, maybe Lane Kiffin says, you know what? I've done about all I can do here. I've done about all I can do that I feel is realistically possible, and I don't love where college football is. I don't love what it takes to get there. I think Lane Kiffin could go to the NFL. I think there's more than a couple of teams that would take Lane Kiffin as a head coach. Absolutely. Maybe Lane Kiffin is one. How about Kirby Smart? I think Kirby Smart's another one, guys, that, I don't have on good authority or know exactly does he love the portal or hate the portal, and same thing with NIL. But let's say Georgia wins a national title this year. That's 3 in 4 years. You might say to yourself, why would Kirby Smart ever leave Georgia? He's a Georgia guy. Why would he ever leave? And I'll admit, this one's less likely than some of the other ones I've listed. But maybe a Kirby Smart, guys. We've heard the conversations. Hey, NIL and the portal and the way college football is, it's the thing that's going to hold Kirby Smart back from reaching all of Nick Saban's records. Not because Kirby Smart's not good enough. I think Kirby Smart's the best coach in college football right now. I think he's going to go down as one of the greatest coaches. The program he's built is second to none. But it takes a toll on you, dealing with the portal, dealing with NIL. And I think it's the thing that Kirby Smart, guys like him, but specifically Kirby Smart's going to look at and say, I've gotten to the top. It's too hard to stay there. I just want to coach ball. I look at a guy like Kirby Smart, loves to coach ball. How much does he love all the other stuff? If there's anything that's going to slow down Kirby Smart or keep him from reaching the level that Nick Saban got to, it's portal, NIL, free agency with no sort of jurisdiction at all. I could see Kirby Smart dipping after a while. I could see Kirby Smart winning another title and saying, you know what? I've done it all here. There's nothing left. And I don't want to deal with the headache that it takes to get to that point. Guys, about Clark Lee. I think Clark Lee's another one where you're just trying to beat it to the punch. Man, I could see Clark Lee walking away saying, you know what? And I know he's a Vandy guy, but, was the DC, I believe, at Syracuse. He's had some other stops. I just, maybe Clark Lee's a guy that says, you know what? It's too tough. My NIL situation's non-existent. Vanderbilt's starting to invest in football, but it's still light years behind other SEC schools. Maybe he says, you know what? Much love to the V, but I got to look out for me. Forget forever to the V, forever to me. I got to worry about my job and my job security and my future. And I could see Clark Lee walking away. Finally, guys, I got one more. That I feel like could happen, and it's Brent Venables at Oklahoma. And I say Brent Venables because Oklahoma beginning new life in the SEC. I like what Venables is doing at OU. We got a lot of OU folks that have subscribed to the channel. Welcome. Please don't unsubscribe because I said this. But Oklahoma is a situation like Brent Venables was the best defensive coordinator in college football for over, a decade or about a decade or so when he was at Clemson with Dabo. Could Brent Venables get to a point to where with this new era of college football and the right situation opens up and he says, you know what? I was a great DC, man. I can go be a great DC again. Now, he's an OU guy. This is his first head coaching gig. I don't think it's likely. But if you told me it was going to happen, would I say it was impossible? Would I say it was crazy? No. Because I think it's where college football is going. I think we're headed to a place, guys, in college football to where I think a lot of head coaches, despite the salary, and the salary's fantastic, but even with that, you look around and say, you know what? I'm at the facility from 6 a.m. till midnight every day. My staff and I maybe get 2 weeks off a year. Yes, we're paid handsomely, but I have no time to enjoy it. I have no family time. I have no work-life balance. I have none of that. Or what I could do, I could take a third of the pay, still be making really good money. And if I've been smart with my money, guys, I'm never going to run out. I got plenty of it. I could not have all the pressure. I could not have all the expectations. And I can be second in command and let somebody else deal with it all and still get paid a king's ransom. Why wouldn't you do it? I think we're going to start seeing that a lot more in college football. Chip Kelly was just the first domino. Well, technically the Boston College coach was. But the first big domino. When does it hit the SEC? It's not if, it's when. When does this hit the SEC? When do we see this? And who will be the first to fall? Guys, it's going to do to appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Again, guys, be sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Hit that bell icon so you get notifications of when we go live and when we drop new video content, which is each and every single day. Guys, also be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Of course, guys, also you can check us out on social media, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you name it, we're there. And of course, SECUnfiltered.com for all the latest from us. Guys, appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you all so much. We will catch you on the other side.